TV8, home of the Milan Cortina Olympics. Coverage begins February 6th, 2026. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com and McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Taken nearly a century ago, sacred Chamorro latte stones and over 10,000 artifacts are finally coming home. I'm Jonagan Charfus, and coming up tonight, how negotiation, collaboration, and determination made it possible.
Will SIFA have a physical campus come the start of the new school year? We have the answer to that question coming up tonight.
Several dead baby sharks recently discovered at Asa Memorial Beach Park. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with an important warning from the Department of Agriculture.
And we wish you half a day and good evening, everybody. This is KUAM News Primetime. I'm Jason Salas, and these are tonight's top stories. And right off the top in our rundown tonight, ripped from their homeland nearly a century ago, sacred Chamorro latte stones, as well as other treasures, are finally returning home. In Honolulu, Hawaii, Guam's Lieutenant Governor stood alongside cultural leaders, witnessing history in motion with the beginning of a long-awaited return and a powerful step toward reclaiming identity and righting a century-old wrong. Jonah Goncharfers has more from the ceremony held Saturday at Bishop Museum.
We are very excited to be here today to commemorate this storied history and celebrate the ethical return of not just the latte, but over 10,000 artifacts associated with the Hornbostel collection.
That is Melvin Monpat Borja, Director of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, offering remarks during Saturday's ceremony on the gallery lawns of the Bishop Museum near the Latte in Honolulu, Hawaii. The ceremony initiates a phased return of more than 10,000 pieces from the museum's collection to the Mariana Islands. This landmark decision comes after 3 years of collaboration with government officials and colleagues at peer institutions in Guam and Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and is among the largest known ethical returns to ever occur. 3 sets of sacred Chamorro latte stones stood beneath the Hawaiian sun, a powerful reminder of a painful history and the resilience of a people who never stopped fighting for their return. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio.
We begin the process to return the more than 10,000 Chamorro cultural artifacts, Chamorro and Carolinian artifacts, as I discovered yesterday, back to Guahan and all of the islands of the Marianas. This effort is the product of a long-term cooperative partnership between the Department of Chamorro Affairs in Guam and the Bishop Museum to right the wrongful removal of the artifacts.
The latte stones are a part of the Hornbostel collection. Thousands of artifacts removed from Guam and the CNMI in the early 1900s, shipped to Hawaii and stored in museum collections for generations. For decades, Chamorros have called for their return, voices that date back to the 1930s, finally answered through years of negotiation, collaboration, and determination.
Today's ceremony is not simply to start the process of return, but to earnestly begin the process of rematriation of artifacts to their rightful homelands and their indigenous Chamorro and Carolinian communities. Rematriation, as opposed to repatriation, is focused on restoring the relationship between an indigenous people and the culture and land of their ancestors.
As the Bishop Museum and the government of Guam forge a long-term partnership, the return of the latte stones marks only the beginning, paving the way for more artifacts to come home and for future generations to stand in the presence of their history. For the Chamorro people, this is more than a victory. It is proof that the past can be reclaimed and that the ties to their homeland are unbreakable. The latte stones are expected to arrive in the Marianas soon, marking the first wave of the Hornbostel collection's return. Jonagan Charfres, KUAM News.
Moving on in our stories tonight, a quick glance at the calendar would indicate that the fiscal year is nearing its end, and as such, your elected senators are working to finalize GovGuam's fiscal year 2026 budget. But since its release last Friday, outside concern has zeroed in on one controversial piece of that puzzle, rolling back the business privilege tax from 5% to 4%. At the very top of the budget bill is a proposal offering a 0.5% cut, lowering the BPT to 4.5% of gross proceeds of sales. One of the strongest voices advocating for a full rollback is Guam Chamber of Commerce Board Chairman Tae Oh. And by way of a press release this morning, he noted, quote, "In the past 7 fiscal years, we have seen the government's budget balloon from around $700 million, he writes, to nearly $1.4 billion. While our hospital environment continues to crumble, conditions of public infrastructure are questionable at best, and businesses still must face ludicrous licensing and permitting processes where technology is nearly non-existent," end quote. Oh continues to argue that there must be fair reciprocation, as Guam's business community supported the government when the tax was increased in 2018, a hike that was meant to be temporary, adopted to offset revenue shortfalls after the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. While in recognition of the budget process as complex and fast-paced, the Chamber remains firm in their call for a full 1% rollback, even suggesting a phased approach with the first 0.5% cut taking effect on the 1st of October, with the second within the fiscal year, all spelled out in the final bill. Now, senators did go into session earlier today to review and finalize the 26 budget, and we'll have the full details for you tomorrow night on our show. Well, we need to warn you about this next story because viewer discretion should be advised, as the following clip contains footage of a violent fight that might be disturbing to sensitive viewers. Now, a chaotic brawl outside a Tuman nightclub is tonight under investigation by the Guam Police Department, as just after 1:20 in the morning on Sunday, Guam's finest responded to reports of 4 to 5 people fighting in front of Club Zoe. By the time officers arrived, the suspects were gone, with medics treating 5 people on scene, with 1 man rushed to GRMC in Dededo. 1 person was detained but later cleared, and arrests have not been made at this time. The fight is now making rounds on social media, as you would expect, and it's raising serious concern about public safety in the heart of our tourism district. If you should know anything about this incident, you are urged to contact the Guam Police Department's dispatch, or you can always leave an anonymous tip at guamcrimestoppers.com. Also tonight, 2 people are facing serious drug charges after police executed a no-knock search warrant at a home in Dededo on Thursday morning. Officers with a drug task force seized more than 3 grams of meth, LSD, 39 prescription pills marked 337, and over $700 in cash. Within the home's extension, investigators say they found glass pipes, baggies, digital scales, and other tools used to package and sell the drugs. Arrested were 46-year-old Marvin Sangalang Picazo and 42-year-old Jenny Sumang Constantino Elemento. Prosecutors charged both with drug possession with intent to deliver the substance. Picazo also faces an enhancement for committing a felony while already on felony release. According to court documents, Constantino Elemento admitted to using meth and selling it for $10, sometimes as payment for doing nails. She told police she and Picazo smoked meth earlier that day, with Picazo refusing to give a statement. Both remain in custody as the case moves forward in Superior Court. A 43-year-old man is behind bars accused of burglary, theft, and drug possession, and having a firearm without an ID. Prosecutors say Jeremy Pangilinan broke into a home on July 22nd, shattering a bathroom window and stealing a PlayStation 5 gaming console, as well as a firearm from the homeowner's nightstand. Weeks later in Santa Rita, Sumay, responding to a trespassing call, and spotted Pangilinan on home security video walking with a gun near the back of their house. Officers found him at a nearby bus stop where he admitted tossing the weapon into nearby vegetation, which turned out to be the same firearm stolen in July. A search of his bag turned out to be a makeshift pipe with a pair of baggies of suspected meth. Pangilinan faces multiple felonies and misdemeanors. Elsewhere, with last Friday's deadline to name a physical campus now having been passed, the Science and Fun and Awesome Learning Academy Charter School says it remains optimistic about opening its doors on the 2nd of September, though that hinges on a few key factors. Destiny Cruz-Langas reports from the briefing.
In a satellite office at Tumon Sands Plaza, Science is Fun and Awesome Learning Academy Charter School standing as a united front, facing the pressing question, has it secured a physical campus as the new school year nears? As of Monday, the answer is no, but SIFA says a plan is in motion.
We weren't sitting down just doing nothing. Every avenue, we've always had plan A, plan B, plan C. And when that changes, then we have another plan A, plan B, plan C.
The school is seeking to temporarily occupy the closed Lyndon B. Johnson Elementary campus in Tamuning, while also pursuing other commercial options. Dr. Anthony J. Sunga is SIFA's CEO.
We have made a formal request last Friday for the LBJ facility to the GDOE superintendent and the board chairman. Both requests now rest on the AG's opinion, according to the board chairman, as we place an advertisement for a request for inquiry on a daily news publication. This allows us to simultaneously look for availability of commercial space and identify potential sites from the general public.
Ron Ravella, SIFA's Director of Planning, Appliance, and Research, says the deadline for that RFI is August 22nd, hoping for an Attorney General opinion before then.
I'm hoping and praying that someone will respond. And if there is a response, then we move forward with the next step on stage 2 of our procurement process.
Sunga also addressing online learning concerns following Guam Charter Schools Council Chairwoman Evangeline Cepeda stating it is not an option.
I believe going online that the chairperson mentioned is an online school year. I would love to go to any site to bring kids in and have them face to face. But with the situation, our faculty here and our staff and everyone here has really prepared for all contingencies. And the temporary online, I would say, access to the students, access to our teachers is quite important while we wait to move into our new campus.
Meantime, SIFA says if LBJ is approved, it will be able to retrofit the facility for middle schoolers. The school's population currently stands at around 400. As for its dispute with former landlord Eagle Land Holdings LLC, Sunga confirms the case has been dismissed. Meanwhile, SIFA's orientation is August 14 at the Royal Riga Hotel, followed by a first house activity at Ipoh Beach Park on August 15th. The first day of school is set for September 2nd. Destiny Cruz-Langus, KUAM News.
It's time for a break. You're watching KUAM.
GU Self-Storage, located in Harmon next to McDonald's, offers a variety of storage units. With rates starting as low as $95 per month, we offer complimentary use of dollies, pushcarts, Plines hand trucks, and pallet jack, with a fully covered loading and unloading areas and ADA accessible units. We offer 24-hour CCTV surveillance monitoring, alarm, and individual pin-coded gate and door access, because your safety is our priority. GU Self-Storage, voted Pika's Best in 2024. Call 671-648-7867 today.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place. This crispy chicken is from a taco place? Hey, this crispy chicken's from Taco Bell? The taco place? This chicken is so perfectly crispy with tortilla chip coating. It's from a taco place. Guys! What? It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
I grew up on Guam. Sports shaped who I am. But representing our island on the national basketball team taught me the importance of community. After 10 years in Hawaii, working at Bank of Hawaii, I came home to give back and to lead. At Bank of Hawaii, we're passionate about helping everyone in our community create a better life for themselves and their families to reach their possible. I'm Mike Sakazaki, and I can't wait to help you reach yours.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Prime Time. A massive overnight fire kept emergency crews busy in Dededo as just after 10:30 Sunday night, GFD rushed to the Global Recycling Center on Batulo Street for a reported auto fire. Crews arrived to find multiple tires, vehicles, and a makeshift structure inside the compound completely engulfed. The thick smoke and intense flames prompted advisories for nearby residents in East Santa Barbara and East San Antonio to consider evacuating. 3 GFD engine companies battled the blaze, joined by an engine from JRM and a tanker from the Anderson Fire and Emergency Services crew. The fire was brought under control at 2 a.m. with the scene secured at 5 a.m. GFD worked with Anderson Fire and Emergency Services, as I said, Joint Region Marianas, as I said, and the Guam International Airport Authority fire team and the Dededo mayor, and they thanked them for their help in containing the blaze. Well, an investigation is underway after several baby reef sharks were discovered dead inside an abandoned gill net in the waters at Assun Beach last Friday. Matsuki Hirayama spoke with biologist Brent Tibbetts, who shares a reminder on local fishing regulations and their importance to maintaining a healthy marine ecosystem.
A normal Friday morning at the Asan Beach Memorial Park led to a shocking discovery when someone noticed a gill net abandoned in the waters with several baby sharks trapped and dead.
So DAR staff then responded to that and recovered the gill net and recovered 8 dead baby blacktip sharks.
Biologist Brent Tibbetts says the Guam Department of Agriculture's Division of Aquatic and Wildlife Resources is investigating the incident.
Looking at the size of the sharks that were recovered, they're probably less than a month old. They're a week old is nearly this size, so they were pretty young.
Blacktip reef sharks are non-aggressive, known to frequent Guam's shallow waters, and are commonly spotted by snorkelers and divers. They maintain coral reef health and also have local significance.
Reef sharks like this do good things for the reef fish population around the world, but certainly on Guam. And they really are an important part of the ecosystem and should be there. To lose 8 like this is really unfortunate.
One of the few fishing regulations Guam has prohibits the abandonment of gill nets, or vertical walls of netting used to trap fish.
Gill nets on Guam, when you set a gill net, it has to be manned. There has to be somebody nearby watching it. And this is one of the main reasons. If you catch something that you don't want, that you can release it before it's killed.
The blacktip reef shark is fished for shark fin soup. While that's legal, its commercial sale is not. A Guam law passed in 2010 bans the possession and sale of shark parts.
You can't commercialize the fins. If you sell shark, it has to have fins intact. It has to be intact. Also, if you kill things that you're not planning to harvest, that's wanton waste, and that is also a violation of Guam law. So the unmanned gill net and wanton waste are 2 violations that are dealing with.
There are important legal protections in place to prevent incidents like this from happening.
If you are gill net fishing, make sure you know what the regulations are regarding gill net fishing. If a net out cannot be out longer than 6 hours, it has to be manned. Somebody has to be watching it the entire time to release non-target species. There are length regulations and mesh size regulations for gill net, and it is illegal to sell fish caught with a gill net.
Meantime, DAR is also actively investigating another incident after a larger, mature blacktip shark was found dead on Sunday night in the same area, though not in a gill net. If you have any information on either incidents, or if you see an abandoned gill net, call DAR at 671-735-0294. Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view of Talafofo Bay.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Get set to ace the school year with Kmart's A+ deals for every grade. Crush the classroom with unbeatable deals on school supplies, plus tasty snacks and drinks that are perfect for packing lunches and powering through the school day. College bound? Get campus ready with dorm essentials like bedding, organizers, and cool touches to make it yours. Teachers, score everyday discounts on classroom essentials to spark every student's success. Move to head of the class only at Kmart. Kmart, back to school, back to cool.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby! Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
Is your child having difficulty walking, talking, playing and learning like other children? As parents, we ask ourselves, what should I be doing? If you are worried about your child's development, the Guam Early Learning Council is here to help. Simply dial 311 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., excluding holidays, to get resources and valuable information.
Is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Better Together, Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas, and the Guam Army National Guard. Live here, serve here. Money, 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 everybody makes the world go round, for better or worse. But you know, we need financial literacy on this island. We need more of it, and my friends at the Salvation Army are making this happen because they have a Lunch and Learn seminar. Check this out. You can learn how to protect your assets and increase your income. Two incredibly really good things to have at any level and at any age. So I really encourage you to participate. The Salvation Army, these are friends of mine, right? I was over there the other day because they got Rockade coming up too. But make sure to check it out because it's next Monday and Tuesday over at UOG. Make sure to sign up and you can learn how to get a handle and control of your money. Good stuff there. Thank you for our friends at the Salvation Army. Also, the Guam Football Association, 50 years that they've been dribbling with their feet. I could never play soccer. Like, amazing players, both the Matao, the Masakata, the leadership, everything, the club system, high school. GFA is awesome, and they are having a golf tournament, the Golden Drive, to celebrate their golden anniversary, and we are doing it big because it's gonna be down at the Leo Palace, amazing golf course there. You're gonna see soccer players play golf. Most of us on island are multi-sports athletes. I say most of you. I never was. I played one sport. All right, but support GFA because they have done an amazing job getting us on an international stage and really giving our kids something awesome to do. And the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce has their membership meeting coming up. The benefits that you take away from what is essentially a very, very small fee to attend, right? If you're a member, it's just $35 and only $45, just $10 more if you would like to be a future member, and we highly encourage you to do so because you will make connections, you will be inspired, you will be educated, and you can even contribute too. That's a wonderful thing about the GWCC. It's a bi-directional highway, a path. Really good women doing really good work here on our island. You know who's also really cool? Birthday celebrants today, so let's get to that right now. Mr. Mikey Sablan, you are today's lone birthday celebrant. Nothing wrong with that, man. That just means you have the limelight all to yourself, and very deservedly so, because your friends and family and the entire island, all 19 voting precincts, all of the villages, 30 miles long by 7 miles wide, all of us are wishing you a very, very happy birthday, and we hope you have and continue to have a beautiful one. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com. Have a pleasant Monday. Good night.
Welcome to the podcast. So this is Veterans with Benefits. So we talk all things veterans. And when we met you, I know we both looked at each other and we're like, we got to have her on the podcast.
Yes.
And on the radio. So just introduce yourself. Tell us the history about the project that you led and what it is today.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Carrillo, and I'm actually from Hawaii. I actually have been working with Hawaii's child system of care for 30 years. I've done a lot of work with everything from juvenile justice to special education, mental health, trauma, child welfare. But part of my life journey, my former husband he was active military, and then he went into the Army National Guard, so Hawaii Army National Guard. And from there, he was also with the FBI, tasked to the Haida Task Force. But one of the things that happened during our process was the Hawaii National Guard got activated to go to Iraq back in 2004, I believe. Okay. And from there, because they were National Guard members, they had to do training for quite a bit of time. So he was gone for about 2 years. Oh, wow. And in about a month into coming home after those 2 years, he got injured in Iraq. Wow. And what happened was they brought all the guys back, and he was injured. So I believe at the time, that first year, he had about 12 surgeries. Wow. And he couldn't, of course, go back to his regular job because he was with law enforcement at the time. So I started looking into what's going to happen next. And the Army, their response was pretty much, you're going back to your National Guard unit. But that doesn't mean you're going to get paid. That doesn't mean anything. There was no medical units for the National Guard. So I'm an advocate. I always say this. I'm an advocate. I like to really fight for people to get the services that they need, and that is what our government is here for, is really to meet the needs of the community. So I started looking into it because they were actually going to release him. And that meant no funding for, no salary, no housing, and we were going to go on just my salary, which wasn't going to work because we had 3 children. Okay. And so from there, I just started looking into it, and the Army had not done this in a while. So they really had a hard time dealing with, okay, we're just sending the Hawaii guys back to Hawaii and the American Samoa guys back to American Samoa, but no medical and no salary. So from there, in Hawaii, just like Guam, we kind of know each other. Not familial relations, but we just know each other. Mm-hmm. And so I got in touch with the Adjutant General for the state of Hawaii and had a conversation with him. And from there, he said, wait, how many is this happening to our soldiers? I said, I don't know. Sorry, you want to?
No, good. No, that's
so,
good.
Then I started getting phone calls from wives, husbands whose soldiers were injured. Yeah. And the horror stories that I was getting was the same as what was happening to my husband. My husband got blown up in a vehicle, and half of his body is in a cast. But he basically has to drive himself to the hospital for his appointments. He's high on medication, but he still has to take himself because I can't take off of work to continue to do this. So as we went through the process, Hawaii had some really strong, wonderful senators up in Congress. So Deanna Kaka and Danny Noy, and at the time Neil Abercrombie. And I met with them and I said, look, I need help. There's something happening here. And it's affecting a lot of our Hawaii National Guards members. And from there, because we had a lot of Hawaiians in the National Guard, I got OHA, which is the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. They're a great advocacy group, and I got them involved. They look after Hawaiians. That's their mission. That's their state, charter. So I got them involved, and we started to do research, and basically they were doing it to a lot of people. The active Army was just releasing our National Guard members who were injured. And they could be held at like the medical unit for 90 days or something, but that's a very short period of time. So when I went to Diamond Head, where we have our huge National Guard office, and Dana Kaka said, I need you to come and meet with us. I said, okay. So I went up there and walked into this room with every general from every service agency, all of our congressional members, all of the National Guard, command, and I wasn't prepared because it was just like, wow, okay, I guess they got the word out. Yeah. So they did a little bit of investigations from that meeting. I did tell them, hey, some American Samoa soldiers and their representative reached out to me also. And we went out and we looked at the barracks where they were keeping off-island soldiers. And the barracks were the old barracks from the early, it hasn't been renovated. It was really bad. There was mold, mildew, rats. I mean, it was just really bad. And I said, people can't physically and emotionally heal when they're in this really gross facility. It's not healthy for them, but it's also emotionally not healthy for them. And then to be disconnected from their family and their friends. So, for a couple of months there, I was going back and forth with our Congress members and the command for multiple, not just Army, but Navy, because we had Tripler and the Air Force Base. And, so everybody was involved in it. But, and I don't like to be adversarial about things. I do think that there's a way that we can move together as one for the benefit of everybody, because I did have a lot of pushback from the military, the active military, and it was scary. Yes. It was very scary. I felt like I was being targeted, watched, surveilled, and, not realizing that my husband at the time was, with all these law enforcement agencies, and I have friends in the police department and friends in the federal law enforcement side. And, and then the congressional members, they actually assigned a lawyer to help me through the process because I felt so targeted. And, and I hate to say it, but, there was a lot of people who lost their jobs, which is very unusual. This does not happen.
It's not supposed to.
It doesn't. Well, when you have command, generals and commanders of certain units, and they're saying the wrong thing and they're being adversarial and pushing back, like it became we don't really want to help. Like, we have to, but we don't really want to help. And so then, there's a lot of people who lost jobs, and that doesn't happen in the military. Nobody loses their job.
It's not supposed to be that way.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores?
Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Your story is really, it's refreshing because, you know, here at HMI with what we do, right, you know, we almost feel that way, right? We seem like, you know, we've heard people call us, they're rogue, they're this, they're very loud about things, right? And what a lot of folks aren't seeing are the same things you're talking about. So that happened here. And, you know, there was a veteran that we took care of, right? And he came to us, right? And he wanted to work on his claim and figure it out, right? And at the time he was still in the Guard, and we said, hey, look, you know, you could still file, right? And go through the process, get it done. There's a way to do it. And, you know, right off the bat, right, he was getting ready to ETS out of the Guard, right? And he came off of deployment. And when he came off of deployment, he filed his claim. Before he got out, he was at 90%. Shortly after that, he was at 100%. So when we talk about this, right, we're talking about, hey, this guy is in that same situation you're talking about. Yeah. Our Department of Defense, our Guard folks that are in charge, it doesn't make sense that they take our men and women from our island, send them into harm's way, and they come back home and they're left to fend for themselves. And, you know, we talk about Hawaii. We talk about you having congressmen that are sitting in Congress that can talk. We have one representative, right? And he's non-voting, and doesn't mean he's not impactful. It just means it makes it even harder for us. So this is why when we hear you talking, right, we're saying, wow, wait a minute. She has these problems back there with even more resources, much more our folks here. And you know, we're just now getting into how do we get better at doing this? How do we take the things that you're telling us and we almost follow the same pattern and we see the same story, and here we are saying, look, somebody's already done this, now it's our turn to really kind of follow. And the timing part, it took so long to get to a certain point. When you talked about how many earlier we talked about how long it took for that program you started to really take off, right? And here we are, we're thinking, oh, it's supposed to move faster.
Well, it actually did. So I started this process in 2007. 3 months into it is when the congressional member said, look, Lonnie, we need to fly you up to Congress and speak in front of Congress to get these millions of dollars to start this program that you're talking about. Because it wasn't something that we threw to the military to say, look, we need you guys to build it. We, as family members, community members, those affected, our voices needed to be in the planning process. So within 3 months, from the time I started, 3 months, you know, Dan Akaka calls me and he says, you know what, you don't have to come to Congress. We got the money, but what are we going to do? And from there, it probably took another maybe 6 to 9 months. So going into 2008, you know, is when I sat down and said, look, you have a medical unit. Let's rebuild this medical unit where we're actually keeping soldiers on payroll. That was number one, because they had to take care of their families. Give them housing for the ones who needed it. Give them their medical treatment. Do not let them drive while high on hydrocodone. And do not make them clean a swimming pool just to make them feel effective. You know, so all of these things were happening, rebuilding the barracks, re-looking at the medical, bringing in, at the time, they really didn't classify TBI, traumatic brain injury, and post-traumatic stress disorder as a real symptom for military members. So we came back around, brought mental health professionals in and said, look, this is true.
Yeah.
There's actually real clinical, research and data that shows that when you get blown up, yes, your head is shaken. And post-traumatic stress, yes, when people are seeing other people dying and it's their friends, these people are so connected. They're even watching somebody you don't know passing away, being shot at, being looked over your head, having that heightened sense of just your whole body. Your body should not be in that adrenaline phase for it. So it took a while, but we did get the military to classify that as a actual disability. And so then they built up not only the Warrior Transition, at the time it was Warrior Transition Unit. Within that first year, it became a battalion because that's how many people were affected. And then part of that too was working with American Samoa because they had so many soldiers that went to war with our active military, but they didn't have medical in American Samoa. So they had to stay in Hawaii. But
they needed housing.
They don't have housing, so we made sure that the barracks were all, and they fixed it quick. They did fix it quick. But not only that, I asked for, as I'm talking to members, they miss their families.
Yes.
How can you heal emotionally and feel safe and secure if you're worried about your wife and children in American Samoa who might not be able to pay bills? So we actually got them to build a program within the WTB to bring the spouses over and family, house them, and pay the spouses to be their caretakers. You didn't have to be certified as a nurse or anything, but they were taking care of their soldiers. So we had that happen. And then from there, it was looking at Tripler and saying, we can't just look at Western medicine. There are other things that we can do. So acupuncture, chiropractic care, medical massage, behavioral health. So we built that.
Out here, I'm just while you're on that, right? For a long time, right? Some of our veterans fly off island and they get all these services, right? And then they come back home and they say, how come we don't have this? Oh, and all of a sudden, when we start voicing, right? They said, oh, yeah, it's coming, right? And we're like, wait a minute. What do you mean it's coming? It's in the program. What are you doing to not push it out to our veterans? Our veterans should know that this is there. Not have our other veterans fly off island and notice these big, spectacular places with all the services, only to come home and say, oh yeah, no, we can't do that here on Guam. It's like, what? We're a second-class veteran type of setup here.
That's terrible.
And it is. And hearing you tells me that, look, even in your situation as a state, it took that to get you guys going. Thank goodness you were able to do it. And I know there was a program, PRRP, right? This was where they used to send the veterans from Guam out there. And my understanding is it's no longer there anymore, right? And
not that I'm aware of. They might have rebranded it. They could have.
But we don't hear our veterans saying that they're flying them out there.
Offered.
Yeah.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?
Yeah. What's a snack wrap?
Boom. Back when we wore velour from the top of the head to the tip of the toe, the snack wrap was no joke. Takes me back. What you know about that juicy chicken? That shredded cheese. Come close. Ranch. I did everything to bring it back, nephew. Talk to me.
Educate. Get him.
Okay, yeah, say less, Let me do the snack wrap.
Yeah, let him do the snack wrap.
Can I get both, please?
Double him up.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
One of the things about advocacy work is about outreach and education. You have to have that component because it was a little easier for me in Hawaii because I could just make a phone call and then people would show up and we'll talk. We'll talk story and we'll find out what's happening. but pushing out the educational side. Look, this is what you're entitled to.
Yeah.
And so having those advocates out there to do this work needs to be funded. And
well, wait, are you saying you have to be funded to do something like that? Because,
should be.
you know, HMI, right? We're a nonprofit, 501c3. We're not funded. And guess what we're doing? Exactly what you're saying. We're bringing our veterans together saying, hey, here's what's going on. Here are some of the benefits. You need to do these
and
things.
outreach and education,
Yeah,
what
and
you
we-
just said.
Yeah.
They
HMI
started
goes-
at every village.
HMI goes to every village on this island. We will be having our 4th annual symposium. You know who pays for this? Our veterans pay for it through our fundraisers, for them donating, so they get to see direct dollars from the things that they do and they contribute. They're going to be listening to a large group of service providers will be there. We'll hear from the leadership. And nowhere else on this island has anybody ever done this. And we're continuing to build this, and it's growing. Every year, more and more people come. Every month, we get more and more veterans coming to these boot camps. So I'm sorry.
Do you have the capacity to do that, though?
Well, we only get that because our veterans need it and want it, and then we also have some of our businesses that contribute and help us. But this is not direct funding, and maybe I'll say it here, right? Gita was giving out grants, and would you believe that we submitted for that grant? And I'm not saying anything bad. I just wanted to share. Gita gave money to GAIN. I love animals, right? I love dogs, and GAIN takes care of dogs. They gave dogs money, but they didn't give the veterans any money. They did not give HMI money to take care of our veterans. So I'm asking that the next time our leaders look at funding, maybe they start looking at, hey, can we give our veterans some money? And by the way, these leaders are going to be at this symposium coming up, and we're going to have you there too. So you're going to be able to ask them some questions and see whether they can, tell us, hey, we're working on this, or hey, this is something I'm not saying they're not doing anything, right? But if you really just had to weigh it, right? If the veterans ask me, have you ever asked for a grant from the government? Yes. Ourselves and GAIN, and they gave GAIN money and not us. So they cannot see that.
It shouldn't be like we're more important than them. Everything is important, and funding is always they can't fund everything, but what you can do, and as an advocate, I'm saying this, what you can do, grassroots efforts for indigenous populations and Pacific Islands are the only way to really get things started. That is when you turn to the funder and say, look, you're putting out this grant that looks like this. It's a very siloed, one-dimensional. But when we meet our community members and we see all of these needs, then the funding needs to change with what is needed in the community. So if you're saying that, okay, yes, GAIN is getting funding to take care of the animals, okay, great. Let's find additional funding from different sources, not just government, but you need to look at private foundations. There's federal funding, all of those international funding to look at what is needed. And if you're already doing the work, you're not going to be able to sustain this for a long time because there's only a few of you. But
as long as I'm alive, I'll keep doing it.
I know. And that, grassroots effort.
So they're going to have to kill me before I stop. And I've said this to our veterans, I said, hey, when it comes to applying for your benefits and the things that are going on, I've said this early on, and I have wondered, right? I'm here now 5 years doing this. I told them, you can't quit till I quit. So they're going to have to pray to God that he doesn't take me, because if the Lord takes me, then I won't be able to help them anymore. But until that time, for as long as I'm able to, I'm going to keep pushing and keep doing these things, because who else is going to do it for our veterans? You look around, you look at your story, you look at other stories. I briefly looked into what goes on when it comes to what they're called our donor states and recipient states, right? And that's where all the money from Congress goes, right? And the ones that really don't need it have all the power. And the ones that really need it are left to try to almost beg for the money, right? And imagine that's done in the continental United States in Congress with those that have voting rights and, you know, that vote for the president, the states. Territories are even further down that line. So we already have those difficulties on the recipient state side. How about for us?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So from there, that's where you take the people.
Okay.
And the people need to have a voice. And honestly, one of the things, and I see Guam is very similar to Hawaii for Hawaiian rights.
Yeah.
When we looked at that, we had small voices. We had voices here and there.
Yeah.
But when you become a collective and you are now doing it together and you rise up and empower each other and stand together, that is how you get things done.
But that doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's always a starting point.
Right.
Like I said, with Warrior Transition Battalion, I started voicing my concerns in 2007.
Uh-huh.
By 2008, it was up and running, but it wasn't to the, you know, the what I really wanted to see. That's when the transition services, vocational training came into play, mental health service. So it takes time. But when you look at the news articles about it, it looks like it didn't start till 2014. But that's not the truth. The truth is the voice started in 2007. It was stood up in 2008. Now it wasn't perfect, but through the years, you know, at least they offered me a voice at the table when there was a change of command. So we could say, look, I'm noticing this, let's do this.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. You should say what is happening in the community and where funding needs to go.
And one of the things we tried to do early on, and you know, we got a long way to go to become Hawaii and become the things
And you
that
don't
you're
have
doing.
to be Hawaii. You
Right.
have to be your own, where it's coming from your own people and what they think is right.
But we're working on that because we're at our 4th annual symposium, and it's because of our veterans and the support around us, right? So this is not me. This is not Miss Karina here. This is our veterans. And we've started to interview them to really get their voices on tape talking about the things that are going on. And I think, right, we are getting a really, there's a lot of people. Just this year alone, we helped over 700 people already, January to today. And that's just getting outreach, getting these people to see.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
We had a story of a female veteran who filed a claim, right? And when we asked her the story, she goes, "Hey," we said, "How did you end up doing your claim?" She goes, "Oh, you know, I have a cousin, and my cousin said he listens to you guys, and he told me, go work on your claim. So I went and I filed something really quick after he told me, and I got 10%, right?" But you know, we don't always get those stories. But when she shared that story, I said, wow, isn't that impactful that HMI goes out there, talks to people, gives them just like you said, the outreach, the education and information, and just secondhand information got somebody their benefits. So
and that's the ripple effect,
There
right?
you go.
You help one person who helps another 3 people who helps. The word gets out. But with all of everything that you guys are doing, which is wonderful, you know, the major thing that you have to kind of focus on is leveraging what you've already done, what you're going to do, and leveraging that with this huge military buildup that's happening in Guam. Military buildup is one thing,
Yes.
but there are soldiers who are already injured, who are already veterans, and then people are going to get hurt.
Yes.
And whatever they walk away from, it's a little easier for the younger soldiers who've been in just now, but for the ones who've been left behind, you need to leverage this with this buildup to say, we as veterans need to be at the table when we're talking about a $5 billion buildup. Because then you need to look at, okay, is the veteran affairs going to come out here? Or is the medical going to come out? Can the infrastructure handle that? Now, the staffing, how are we going to employ people who are knowledgeable? So you need to do all of these things, but be at the table when they're talking about this huge military buildup, because you're part of it. It doesn't matter. You're part of it.
Well, I think he asked that question, and we're trying to be part of it. I think leadership needs to know that HMI, with the leading veteran organization, has the pulse of the veterans. I think people are just afraid of us or scared of us because we do have the backing of a lot of veterans, and I know a lot of people are scared of change. But we have hundreds of veterans that are ready to support us for anything that we need. And so it was inspiring to meet you and listen to your story, because that was 2007. And I did some, research on what it is today. So it's different today. So from your efforts, guess what? That warrior transition is not only in the Army and the Navy, it's also in Marines, because I found an article that said there's a whole Marine unit, and there's like 2 pages of what the mission is, what they do. So like you said, it's not only healthcare, it's also education, it's training, workforce development, transition to life, civilian life. So it's different. It's the hard work that you did, that you pushed through and championed, is something
I'm a pebble.
So different.
You're a pebble. It's going to roll. You just keep going. You have your backers. Those backers will get you at the table where you need to be. And I honestly think a lot of the leaders here in Guam they might not have the knowledge, and they don't, or it didn't personally happen to them. So you guys have to voice it. Like, hey, this really is happening, and it is harming your people, the people that you are here to serve. I'm not saying be a servant. I'm saying serve the people the right way. Make sure the funding is going to places where it's actually needed and wanted.
And we look forward to doing this work with you and really getting help from you, and we appreciate that. And you bring a wealth of knowledge on how these things might be and how our veterans can learn more. As a matter of fact, some of our other veterans were talking, and they said, yeah, we had this meeting with these great people, right? And they were talking all kinds of stuff, and we didn't even understand it, right? So, we were trying to keep up learning and talking about this, but some of the folks haven't been as out there and active. So this is why sometimes for us, it just requires us to, absorb information, bring people together, and ask them about the things to help us move this forward. And believe it or not, just like you were saying, right? They're coming. There's help coming, and like you said, we have to ask, and we're learning that, and I think we'll learn even more by trying to get more information from you and having you help us, and we really appreciate that.
Yes, no problem.
And I think the one thing that I would say is hopefully the leaders, of the island who are current today, and the ones that hope to be the future leaders, listen to what you said, because you did 2007, it's 2025. That has transitioned to all the branches of service, the Warrior Transition Unit, but it has a different name now. It's called SRU, Soldier Recovery Unit now in Hawaii. That's what it's called. So I mean, like you said, the pebbles, and when I joined HMI, like they started in 2021 officially, and where we are today, I mean, we have a huge network of veterans behind us, but hopefully the leaders are listening to what you said and invite us to the table and make us stay there and ask us, what are the veterans saying? What do the veterans need? How can we help you? Because no one's doing that. Everyone's listening to other people who don't have the veterans in mind.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening, by the time this airs, right, we'll probably be just about to have the symposium, right? We're not sure if there's going to be enough room, but there's a lot of people already going to be signed up for it and that are going to be attending. But try anyway. We'll try to make you fit in there and find a way to get you guys to come there. And hopefully we can have Miss Lonnie there too. And we could have her, you can meet her and talk about things that we need to do. So August 13, 14, and 15 is going to be up at the UOG Lecture Hall, right? That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have the symposium in the morning, and then we have the
Benefits Boot Camp.
Benefits Boot Camp in the afternoon. So
7:30 registration.